All right, let's dive right into this explainer and uncover the slightly unsettling truth about that device sitting right next to you. You probably picked it up without even thinking today, right? Maybe a dozen times before you even had breakfast. We tend to think of our smartphones as these ultimate tools of convenience, just neutral pieces of glass and metal, sitting there waiting for our commands. But the research we're unpacking today paints a very, very different picture. Today, we're actually going to outline a tactical guide for a digital rebellion, because to reclaim your mind, you first have to understand exactly how it was hijacked. We're going to explore how these devices were precision engineered by behavioral psychologists, neuroscientists, and AI systems to exploit the exact same biological loops that drive gambling.
If you felt the sudden urge to check your screen right as we started, don't beat yourself up. It really isn't the lack of willpower on your part, it's a hijacked biological loop. Seriously, it happens not because something monumental occurred in the world, and definitely not because you consciously decided you needed new information. You checked it because somewhere deep inside your skull, an ancient survival mechanism just got triggered. Silicon Valley didn't just build apps, you know? They built slot machines, disguised them as social networks, placed them in the hands of 5 billion people, and systematically removed all the exit doors.
96. That is the average number of times we unlock our phones every single day. If you do the math, that comes out to roughly once every 10 waking minutes. Just think about that frequency for a second. This is acting as a conditioned compulsion, not a simple habit. You aren't making 96 conscious decisions to look at a screen. Your brain is executing a conditioned response that's measured in milliseconds. It's that phantom reach into your pocket while you're waiting at a red light, or the completely unconscious upward swipe while you're literally mid-conversation with a friend.
Part 1. The Pocket Casino. To understand how we actually got to this point and how the smartphone evolved from a basic communication tool into a casino that never ever closes, we have to look at the underlying neurochemistry. First things first, we really need to bust this massive myth that dopamine is simply about pleasure. Thanks to neuroscientist Kent Berridge's research, we now know it's actually about the relentless wanting that keeps you pulling that digital lever. The mesolimbic pathway in your brain lights up intensely on the prediction of a reward, not the actual reward itself. It's a mechanism called incentive salience, and honestly, it's exactly why you keep scrolling long after you've seen everything remotely interesting. You aren't getting pleasure anymore. Your brain is just frantically chasing a hit that never fully arrives.
It turns out, the exact same unpredictable reward schedules that psychologist B.F. Skinner used on lab rats back in the 1950s have been precision engineered right into our daily lives. Skinner figured out that unpredictable rewards create the absolute most compulsive, obsessive behavior. So every single time you pull to refresh, you are literally pulling a slot machine lever, hoping for a variable reward, a new email, a like, some breaking news story. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are the subjects in a modern behavioral lab.
Section 2. Engineering the dopamine trap. The crucial point here is that a $500 billion digital advertising market is structurally incentivized to deepen your dependency. 170 milliseconds. That is literally all it takes for your brain to process a social status comparison. Think about how incredibly fast that is. It means algorithms can weaponize your fear of missing out almost instantly. And FOMO isn't just a trendy acronym, it's a deeply evolved survival mechanism. Historically, being excluded from the tribe meant death. Your ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that evaluates risk and your social standing, processes these signals completely involuntarily. So the second you open an app, you're hit with this continuous, inescapable stream of curated fictions that instantly trigger deep-seated biological anxiety. Have you ever felt a buzz in your pocket, only to pull out your phone and see absolutely nothing? Yeah, me too. If you've experienced that, you are part of the overwhelming 89% majority whose nervous system has actually been physically rewired to manufacture artificial stimulus. Your brain has been so intensely conditioned to expect a digital reward that it physically hallucinates the trigger. It is absolutely wild.
Part 3. Weapons of Mass Distraction. Now, we need to expose the specific arsenal being used against your attention span in what former Google ethicist Tristan Harris calls the race to the bottom of the brainstem.
Make no mistake, these are absolutely not convenience features. They are deliberate behavioral traps. Take the infinite scroll, for example. Its actual inventor, Ozzy Raskin, estimates it extracts 200,000 extra hours of human life daily per platform. Or consider notification batching. Apps are actively using AI models to delay and cluster your alerts, hitting you precisely when you're most psychologically vulnerable to opening the app. And Snapchat streaks? That is just behavioral conditioning with a flame emoji tacked on, manufacturing total obligation out of thin air.
It's the exact same logic behind how TikTok's engine can predict your emotional vulnerabilities, like loneliness or insecurity, in a mere 35 minutes to maximize your watch time. Hearing this directly from Chamath Palihapitiya, a former Facebook vice president, really just seals the deal, doesn't it? The architects behind these platforms knew exactly what kind of social validation anxiety they were inflicting on us. The like button was never about building community. It was explicitly designed to create measurable, short-term dopamine loops that kept you coming right back for validation.
Section 4. The Silicon Valley Hypocrisy. And honestly, this builds into the absolute darkest truth of this whole explainer.
It is a stark, infuriating contrast. While Apple screen time data reveals that the average Gen Z user is literally spending more time on screens than they do sleeping, the very executives who built these addictive systems are quietly sending their own kids to elite, screen-free Waldorf schools. They intentionally shield their own children from the technology they created. This isn't an accident, folks. It is the highly calculated behavior of people who understood exactly what devastating costs they were releasing into the world. Because the product was never the app. The product was always you, your attention, your anxiety, and the steady erosion of your capacity for deep focus. That's what is being packaged up and sold to advertisers, while you mistakenly think you're just, passing the time. You do not pay for these apps with money. You pay with your behavioral data and your emotional responses. We are all feeding an algorithm that generates profit margins that make the oil industry look completely modest by comparison.
Part 5. The Digital Rebellion. Okay, here is the empowering part. Putting down your phone is no longer just some personal wellness trend. It is an active, empowering rebellion against the extraction of your mind.
So, how do we actually fight back and reclaim our cognitive sovereignty? Well, you can utilize these practical methods to join a growing attention reclamation movement. Step 1. Embrace digital minimalism. This means ruthlessly auditing your apps, turning your screen to grayscale to kill those bright dopamine triggers, and shutting off all non-human notifications. Step 2 might sound a bit extreme to some, but dumb phone sales are actually up 5% year over year. People are actively choosing friction over convenience, maybe just grabbing a cheap flip phone for the weekends. Step 3 is joining abstinence communities. Because let's face it, your individual willpower alone rarely beats a multi-billion-dollar supercomputer designed to addict you. And finally, Step 4, alter your physical environment. Charge your phone in another room overnight to protect your sleep, and keep it entirely out of sight when you need to do deep work.
Make no mistake, attention poverty is going to be the defining inequality of the 21st century. As we look ahead to a future packed with hyper-personalized AI manipulation and direct neurointerfaces, where companies are actually trying to wire these dopaminergic loops directly into our brain pathways, the ability to maintain deep focus is going to become the ultimate luxury. It'll literally be the dividing line separating those who thrive from those who are exploited. Cognitive sovereignty will be the single most valuable asset you can possess.
So, will you spend your attention or let it be taken from you? Every hour of genuine, uninterrupted presence is a heroic act of resistance. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to consider the very next time you feel that unconscious itch to reach into your pocket. Your attention is the absolute most valuable thing you own. Do not let a casino disguised as a piece of glass dictate how you spend your life.